Hello, everybody. It is Monday evening, and you know what that means? That means it is time for the Sunday Night League. Uh, so, we are here today for the first round of SNL Formula X Season 7. We are at Dragon Trail today, and yeah, we are ready to go effectively. We should run through the grid order first though today, and we'll have to go through the teams as well. I'm just going to take one quick second to double check my audio is working. We are all good. Let's get going. Hello, Sarlek, Jam, and Pat. Good to see you in the chat. Let's see our grid for Dragon Trail today. Let's go to pole position. Starting off the season strong in qualifying is Bunnies. Taking a pole position, you can see the number 1 on his car going from the highest possible number to the lowest possible number, going from the 99 to the number 1 in his Gulf McLaren livery based off of the 2021 Monaco Grand Prix that McLaren ran. So Bunnies, our first driver for McLaren there, we can see. Second, we have Cthulhu here in his Tyrrell. I admit I do not know the year of this livery. If anyone does know, feel free to say so in the chat. I'd be very interested to know, but the number 81, runner-up last season, I believe, right next to our reigning champion. So it's looking strong for our championship contenders from last season once again. Cthulhu in second for Tyrrell. 78 says Matt Sykes, so I'm guessing that means this Tyrrell livery is from 1978. Afternoon also says Matt and Rob saying sound is good. Hello to them as well. We have 10 viewers already. Excellent numbers to begin the season. Bailey is in third on the grid in this 2015 Mercedes. I believe it was a testing livery. Here is Bailey starting on the second row of the grid. A solid season last season. Going back to a shiny livery. Last season he was in the shiny Vodafone McLaren livery. He had a solid season, but this is already looking quite good in this shiny Mercedes livery based off 2015. Then we come to Rob on drums. We have Rob here in the Renault based off of, and correct me if I'm wrong, 1982, I want to say? That could be very wrong, but I want to say 1982 is correct. Could that be right? I don't know. Either way, I know Alain Prost drove this Renault back in the day, 1982. Let's go. I got it right. Excellent. But nonetheless, Rob on the second row of the grid, a very good opening qualifying for the Renault driver. Next up is Ferrari, and guess who it is? It's Gasman. It wouldn't be a season of Formula X if we didn't have Gasman in a Ferrari. Here he is in the 2021 Ferrari. You can see the livery getting a little bit darker towards the end of the car, much brighter at the start. The green Mission Winnow up there, that's how you can tell it is the 2021 Ferrari. And Gasman, a very snazzy livery, ready to go. Starting on 5th in the grid. Let's move on to the next driver. It's Slenderfella in 6th in this 2019 Red Bull testing livery. As Matt letting me know, Arnoux and Prost drove that Renault that Rob is in. Now, though, we have Pat in the 2019 testing livery that Red Bull ran. A very nice livery, following in the footsteps, in a sense, from last season, when Red Bull used the 2018 testing livery, or I shouldn't say testing, it was the release livery, more accurately. But either way, a beautiful livery there, this time driven by Slenderfella. Next up, we have Matt Psycho in the other Renault. That's our first car on the grid that's the second of the two drivers. Got no way to properly word that, but hopefully the first teammate on the grid, so to speak. Either way, Matt Psycho Here in the number 16 Renault. He was great last season, missed Spain though. We'll see if he misses any races this season. Hopefully not, because that definitely hurt his championship chances last season. In this 1982 Renault, we have Matt Psycho lining up on 7th on the grid. Next, we have Pool Shark. Pool Shark, new to Formula X. It's his Formula X debut. Drove in a round or two of GTE last season. Drove certainly at Deep Forest. I believe possibly at Spa as well, although I could be mistaken on that. And the number 36 goes to Pool Shark in that 2015 Mercedes. Next up is the other Tyrrell. It's Daz. Daz making his full-time return to Formula X. The last time he drove full-time in Formula X was Season 4 in that Red Bull, winning the Nordschleife that season. We'll see if he can repeat that at a different track this season. We're not going to the Nordschleife this season, but we're going to many great circuits. We'll see if Daz can win again. He reserved in Daytona last season, did quite well. We'll see how the Tyrrell driver does this season in that 1978 Tyrrell. Evening, says Alan Sykes. Evening, Alan. Next, we have Jam in the Williams, a 1997, I want to say, Williams. Certainly, if not 1997, at least that era. We have Jam, the number 7. Not a brilliant qualifying for the Brit, but we'll see how he does in the race, qualifying on, I believe, 9th or 10th even on the grid. Yes, 10th on the grid. Apologies for the pause there, trying to quickly check that. Now we have Pat, the one who designed this Red Bull livery, in 11th on the grid. Pat, looking forwards to a full-time season in Formula X. We've seen him racing full-time before. Often we see him in an Aston Martin. Today he's got an Aston Martin sponsor, but he's in the Red Bull. Next up, we have Wolfbane, our Season 4 champion, returns to the grid in Ferrari alongside Gasman. Alan equals Mama Sykes. Of course. Apologies for making that mistake. Welcome back, Mama Sykes. Apologies for that little mistake. I should have remembered that. I usually do, I believe. Nonetheless, here we have Wolfbane, our Season 4 champion. As I said, he won the championship in an Aston Martin. We'll see if he can repeat it in a Ferrari, qualifying on 12th on the grid. Let's move on to 13th. It's the Punisher. Punisher back again in the McLaren this time, in that Gulf McLaren, teammates with the reigning champion, teammates with the reigning Constructors champion as well. Bunnies helped to win both titles along with Alexis last season, although Alexis not on the grid this season. Let's see what the Punisher can do from 13th on the grid in that Gulf McLaren, showing some good pace, but a little bit of a mistake in qualifying, putting him back there. Next up, we have Speckmere. Speckmere here in the Lotus. 1991 Lotus, I'd like to say, though I definitely could be wrong on that one. Certainly the sort of 90s era, 90s, 80s, that's when the liveries get a little bit more foggy for me, being born a little bit after that myself. But here we have the Lotus of Speckmere, qualifying 14th on the grid, not what he'll want from a qualifying session. He's been a front-running driver the past 2 seasons. We'll see if he can bring himself further up the grid this time. Next up is his teammate, Aloy, in the other Lotus. This white and green Lotus, I have to say, is really beautiful. Aloy's been very quick, basically, since he's had an upturn of pace since Road Atlanta Season 5, 1991. Yes, Pat confirms for me. Thank you, Pat. We have Aloy here, though, in this green and white Lotus 1991. He's had an upturn of pace since Season 5, Road Atlanta, more or less. Hopefully he can continue that today. He got a podium last season in Spain. We'll see if he can do that again this season at some of the circuits we go to this season. And last but not least, 16th on the grid is Jim Joker and the other Williams. Jim Joker qualifying on last, but I would not expect to see him stay there. A very quick driver. We'll see what the Czech driver can do today. So that is our grid for today. We can look at the grid from behind, see that excellent mountain range off in the distance. The drivers will be running towards that towards turn 1 and turn left through turn 1, going down towards the chicane that is turns 2, 3, and 4. But before we get into it, and this will be the longest intro of the entire season, I apologize for the lengthiness of this. Of course, just trying to introduce the teams and the drivers for the season. I'll run you quickly through the calendar. I'll make this quick. We first got Dragon Trail Gardens. That's where we are today. A chance of rain here today, even. Then we have St. Croix B. The French circuit will be going there next week, followed by Tokyo Expressway east clockwise. A nice long circuit with some long straight sections, but also a very technical middle section with lots of twists and turns. That also has a chance of rain. We'll see how that goes. Round 4 will be Sardinia B Reverse. We'll see how that goes. For the drivers, the Italian circuit will be a challenge for all the drivers. The elevation change there, quite entertaining to drive along. And last but not least, our season finale will be at Suzuka. The full course, of course, a chance of rain there as well. We saw Season 4, Season 5, Season 3, and possibly Seasons 1 and 2, I believe. Rounding out their championships there. We'll see how that goes this season. Excuse me. Let's get into it, though. Pat saying my second team for the season. Possibly, I believe, referring to Lotus as he did, I believe, design this livery for Lowy and Speckmere. Let's get into this race, though. I have to say, I am very excited for this. Bunny's on pole. Cthulhu in second, Bailey third, Rob fourth. Let's see how this race goes, why don't we? Let's just make sure we have everything up here that we want. We'll turn off the names. Replay loop. Right, that. Don't think we'll need that. Should be okay. Let's get into this race, though. For the first time in Season 7, let's hear the lights, let's hear the engines, let's hear the driving. Let's watch this. 1, 2, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. It's lights out and we are racing here in Dragon Trail. It's a good start for Bunnies, but Cthulhu is getting an even better start. Apologies, going down to Jim Joker there for a second, but Cthulhu is into the lead, into turn 1. He leads the Canadian down towards turn 2. Is there any chaos further behind? Let's watch into the chicanes. Is anybody going to have any mistakes here? Let's take a look at it quickly. And Pat a little ways back. Let's go back to the start, though, as I do know something has happened here, actually. Let's just jump a tiny bit further back. We'll be behind the start of the lights, though. And let's watch Jam here. Let's go on board with him for a second. As the start goes off, and Pool Shark struggling to get away from the line, and Jam runs into him. So Jam into last right off the bat at no fault of his own. Just an issue with the start for the driver ahead, as there's a bit of contact there, and sending Pat off the track at turn 1. The Punisher, just a little bit of contact with him. Not a great start for Pat and Jam then. The two of them sort of sent towards the back of the grid, but it is Bunnies right behind Cthulhu for the time being. The Canadian will be looking to challenge the Spaniard for P1. Let's see Slenderfella down towards the inside of the hairpin here. Can he make the move on Rob? Can Bailey make the move on Matt? It's going to be Gasman on the outside, and Daz sneaking through on Matt as well. Matt sinking through that corner. A little bit of chaos further back. Drivers going a little bit slowly there. Jam making it past Pool Shark, and Pat now. Pat trying to get around the outside of Jam. He succeeds. He is through in that middle sector, beginning the final sector. Let's head back up towards the front, though. Slenderfella in third, behind Bunnies, behind Cthulhu. Cthulhu leads the way towards the end of lap 1. Cthulhu will hold the lead of the race until the end of lap 1, having used up almost a quarter of his overtake, probably closer to an eighth of his overtake there. Bunnies not having used any of it. Slenderfella used a little bit, presumably to get off the line. Then it's Bailey. Rob on drums. It's going to be Daz on the inside of Rob on drums. Can he make the move here? Rob on drums is going to be on the outside. Will that be the better or worse line for turn 2? It's the better line for the moment because it gives him the inside for turn 3. And 4 he's on the outside. He defends the position from Daz. Daz will now try to get Oh, actually, that's Matt going down the inside of them. Let's switch back there, presumably, from Matt. Down towards the hairpin. He's going to make the move on his teammate as well. Can Rob hold it out around the outside? He can't quite. Daz makes it through as well. Rob being pushed down slightly there. We'll see Gasman now trying to get past Rob. Can he make a move through this middle or final sector? Wolfbane behind his teammate now. And Aloe putting pressure on the two Ferraris. A little bit further back, Jam has gotten past his teammate. Oh, Jim Joker barely keeping the car going there as he crests the hill. Oh, big snap of oversteer there. Big snap. How has he saved that? I do not know, but he has done. Very impressive there. Very impressive car control from Jim Joker. Pool Shark down in 16th. Punisher in 15th, trying to pressure Pat. Pat is under pressure from Punisher. He's going to try and move up towards Specmare, but is there anything he can do right now? Not quite. It looks like Punisher, not a perfect line through there, trying to pressure Pat. Doesn't pay off. We'll see, actually. Pool Shark looks like he might want to go for a move on him there. Let's look further up the grid in a moment, though. Let's take a look at Rob. Rob has still defending from Gasman. Gasman trying to catch up enough to be in striking distance. As here comes Aloe, he makes a move on Wolfbane. The Ferrari driver drops a position, going behind the Lotus driver now. Let's take a look at Jam. Is Jam going to be able to make a move? No, it's Wolfbane actually going down the inside of Aloe. What a switchback through the hairpin. Aloe defends 9th position. That is 9th for Aloe, the Lotus driver. A beautiful switchback to hold that position there. Let's see what Aloe can do now, coming up towards the back end of the other Ferrari driver. I wonder if Gasman made a mistake. He looks like he's traveling a little bit slowly here. And now I'm noticing it may be worth taking a look at the tires. Let's go up to the front of the grid to make our run through the grid. Excuse me. It is Cthulhu in the lead on soft compound tires, followed by Bunnies, also on softs. These beautiful onboard views here providing us a great view of the circuit and of the cars. Slenderfella also on softs. Bailey, the first of our medium runners, so Bailey running quite well here at the moment for a medium runner, and Matt behind him on the mediums as well. Matt doing a very good job on these mediums. He'll be looking to catch and pass Bailey. Matt up into 5th as Mama Sykes says, go Matt. Daz on the mediums as well, so the mediums seem like quite a popular choice at the moment. Daz in 6th, followed by Robin Drums also on the mediums in 7th. 8th is Gasman on the hards. The Ferrari driver will have a bit of a pace deficit because of that, and Aloe pressuring him on those mediums is trying to make a point of that and show him, look, I have the better tires, I should be getting through now, and I would not be surprised to see him making the overtake sometime soon. But I tell you what, the dirty air here is vicious. We'll see Jam on the softs, Wolfbane on the hards in 11th, 12th is Pat on the softs, Jim Joker softs for Punisher, Pool Shark on the softs as well, and hards for Specmare, who has damage. And let's go back and see if we can see what's happened to Specmare here. He's on the inside of Jim Joker. He makes contact with Jim Joker and he's into the wall. So that's Specmare down to last now with that damage. Not at all what he will have wanted. And let's see Bunnies here now actually quite close to the back of Cthulhu, using some overtake. He's burned up a lot of it since we last saw him. What's he's gonna it's gonna be a purple time for now. A 113.665. That's even better than Bunny's pole lap, which put him on pole by over 0.8 of a second. So Bunnies is flying now. Let's see what he can do behind Cthulhu in that Tyrrell. It's going to be McLaren Tyrrell, isn't it? McLaren hopping the curb a little bit there to see if he can gain a little bit of an advantage, just about keeping it in our track limits. Of course, we use the curbs as the track limit. The painted, in this case, black and white curbs. Let's see if Bunnies can get closer to the back of Cthulhu and make an overtake. Slenderfella in a league of his own at the moment, or I should say almost no man's land on that podium. I wouldn't say a league of his own. He's got two drivers out ahead of him that are in a league of their own. Those two flying away. Let's see what Cthulhu's last time was. It was a 14.559 compared to Bunny's 13.665, so it's nearly a second gained on the last lap by Bunnies. Bunnies is flying. He is putting the pressure on Cthulhu, but Cthulhu is not one to crack under pressure. Cthulhu is known to make the occasional mistake. Bunnies is known to make quite a few mistakes, though. Everyone on this grid is known to make the occasional mistake, in fairness. I shouldn't single out Cthulhu by saying that. Everyone here really does make the occasional mistake. but Bunnies makes the occasional mistake as well, though. Arguably more often, it's not uncommon to see him at the back of the grid and then charging through the field. If you've been watching Formula X the past couple seasons, you'll notice that's a bit of a trend when he tends to do well, is that towards the beginning of the race, he'll be at the back. He has very often found himself at the back of the grid doing almost last to first challenges. Matt did commentary on Season 5, commenting on that several times towards the end of the season. Evening All says Indian Stig Racing, good luck all, says him as well. Matt Psycho on the back of Bailey now though, on the mediums. Let's see what the Renault driver can do behind the Mercedes, and let's just listen to the engines through the rest of this middle sector. So looking good there from the Renault driver. He's sitting in the slipstream of Bailey. We have many viewers at the moment. Thank you all to everyone who is currently watching. Was Matt actually getting quite close to the back of Bailey? Let's take a look at that top two. Where's Cthulhu? Cthulhu's miles ahead of Bunnies. What has happened there? Bunnies just not quite being as quick on the past couple laps. It's a 14.8 and then a 14.5. compared to a 14.3 and a 14 flat for Cthulhu, so he will have gained a fair bit of time there. Bunny's not maximizing that slipstream the way he would have been hoping to do here on lap 7. We have Slenderfella in third though, fourth is Bailey, and Matt is not far behind. Let's take a look at that other onboard view that we have. This is the view that most drivers will drive with. Not all, of course, but most, I believe, would use this bonnet cam. And this on-board cam, so to speak. Oh, as Bailey, there's a snap of oversteer there. Is that going to give Matt an opportunity? He's going to sit in the slipstream of Bailey. He's going to make a move possibly here. No, he's not. In the S's, that would be a difficult place to make the overtake. The Renault driver has to sit behind for the moment, and he's just barely kept it going there. Touching the red AstroTurf out there. How on earth he has kept that going, I do not know. I can tell you from experience that curve is nasty if you go wide. And, yeah, let's see what he can do here. Daz behind him as well. 15.7 is Daz's fastest lap so far on the mediums as well as these two. So the Tyrrell's doing well so far in first and sixth. That is probably the highest team on the grid at the moment. Jam all the way up to seventh, doing very well, but having burnt up a lot of fuel so far, unfortunately. This is a side-by-side moment. Still Lowy on the outside of Rob. Rob takes the position on the inside. Rob into 8th. I do not know if that was defense or overtake, but either way, he's maximized the inside line. He's taken that position, and the Renault driver is into 8th. Let's see if the Lowy can make a move in the slipstream now. The Lotus driver versus the Renault driver. Sometimes those teams get mistaken for each other in more recent years when they couldn't seem to decide on a name. Of course, 2 Lotuses on the grid at one point, Lotus Caterham and Lotus Renault. But let's see what Aloe can do behind Rob. Let's see Aloe in that hot pink helmet. Ooh, much further to the inside than Rob is there. Let's see if he's going to get an opportunity here, as Rob looked like he was a little bit wide on that corner. Through the quadruple apex that opens the final sector, Aloe is struggling to stay right behind him. That dirty air is brutal on this track. Let's see Pat actually going a tiny bit wide at that quadruple right-hander. Gasman up ahead in 10th. Let's look further back. It's Punisher in 12th. 13th is Poolshark. 14th is Wolfbane. 15th Specmere and 16th Jim Joker. Let's see this battle here between Specmere and Wolfbane. Can Specmere make a move? He's going to be on the outside. The Lotus driver wants to make a move on the Ferrari driver. Is he going to get an opportunity here? He's not quite. Let's see, sitting in the slipstream. He's not using any overtake. He's keeping it very healthy on the overtake use. He has barely used any. And let's take a look just at that front couple again. Bunny's not as far back from Cthulhu as he was the last time we looked. But let's take a look at their tires. Cthulhu doing a little bit better on his tires than Bunny's. Bunny's burning up his socks a bit faster. That blue helmet there for Bunny's, looking right at the rear end of Cthulhu. You can just imagine the driver's eyes in the visor staring at the back of Cthulhu, wondering how he's going to catch, wondering how he's going to make the overtake. Cthulhu, however, will be focused on every apex of every corner. He knows the reigning champion is behind, and he'll know that he needs to be speedy, and he's doing exactly that. Cthulhu doing an excellent job out in front today. Let's see, Bunny's behind him, though. It looks like he's gained a bit of time through that chicane. Slenderfella in third, Matt is ahead of Daz, Daz is ahead of Bailey, so Bailey, there must have been a mistake somewhere from Bailey. If we go back by a bit, nothing here yet, so let's just go back forwards again for a moment, just to see what's going on. Let's see. Jam not far off the back of Bailey himself. The Williams driver is sitting there in 7th, going on to lap 10. We are over a quarter of the way through this race, and these drivers all still flying. The fastest lap of the race so far, a 13.665. Let's see where that goes from here. Many of these drivers on the mediums. It'd be interesting to see how many switch to the sauce. As you can see just for a moment there, any Star Wars fans watching might have noticed on the back of Rob's helmet, Baby Yoda, also known as Grogu. Rob, a Star Wars fan, just like a couple of other drivers on this grid. Bunnies, for example, although what matters right now is the racing, not the Star Wars. Speckmere on the back of Wolfbane. Oh, a snap of oversteer there for Wolfbane. Is this going to give Speckmere an opportunity? You can tell that he's sensing an opportunity. He's on the overtake. He's going to go to the outside of the hairpin. Can he make the move on the Ferrari driver? It's Brit on Brit. Can Speckmare make the move? No, there's a bit of contact. He goes out wide. He's on the curb. Wolfbane maintains the position for the time being in the Ferrari. Can he hold that position much longer, though? Number 38. That was number 1 at one point. He is a reigning... Oh, big snap of oversteer again. I shouldn't say reigning. He is an ex-champion of Formula X, as are a few of the other drivers on the grid. We'll run you through them in just a moment. But in the meantime, let's take a look. Speckmere on the inside of Wolfbane this time. Will the Lotus driver be able to make the move? He's on the inside. He brakes later. And he's through. Wolfbane, nothing he can do there. Wolfbane cannot defend in that Ferrari. He's going to sit in the slipstream now, though. And those hard compound tires on the both of those drivers looking like they might be a bit costly. Let's move back up to the front of the grid. Let's see Bunnies here on the back of Cthulhu. I do wonder if he'll be looking to make some sort of a move at some point in the near future. He's a little ways back, but he might want to get a move on. And Cthulhu getting on the overtake a little bit there, but Cthulhu has much more overtake than Bunny. Bunny's burning up a lot on this straight. Can he make a move even? As I saw movement further back for just a second there, I could have sworn. As I think that was Rob getting past a Lowy. As there's been a mistake for a Lowy even. Let's go take a look at what's happened here for the Lotus driver. He takes a normal line through there, but I think he's just misjudged the braking and the lift and the gas, and just a Lowy off the track there into the gravel, just missing out on the exit, and that gives Rob 8th position. So Renault doing pretty well today at the moment. Renault in 8th and in 4th. Let's see, back up here with Bunnies. He's very close to the back of Cthulhu, hopping the curb once again. The McLaren driver seeming very much to be enjoying it at the moment, using that curb. The McLaren driver, yeah, just sitting there. Rob saying Grogu is my co-pilot, and I can get behind that statement as a Star Wars fan myself. I would love to have a co-pilot like Grogu. Let's see. Oh, it's Cthulhu. That wasn't the best line through the quadruple apex. He gets a snap of oversteer here, and I think Bunny's seeing that, getting on the overtake. He's in the slipstream. Will Bunny be able to pull out an opportunity soon? He's getting quite close to the back of Cthulhu. He's right there. He's looking for an opportunity. He might be a bit too far back, though. Can the Canadian? He's on the overtake. The Canadian coming towards the back of the Spaniard. Can he make a move at some point? Surely he's too far back on this occasion. We'll see if he gets an opportunity soon, though. He's getting close. He's getting close. He's getting close as there's contact even. And he gets damage. Bunnies is damaged, but Cthulhu gets away without damage. Bunnies, oh, you can see the damage already as he goes wide through there. Let's take a look on board at what happened there. Let's take a look at this. Where does Cthulhu break compared to Bunnies? Cthulhu and Bunnies. Bunnies, oh, just so much faster through the apex. And I tell you what, that damage is going to hurt him. You can see the understeer already there. I'd like to see that again from Cthulhu's view even. You can see Bunny's there in the mirrors. He hits the brakes and he's just, yeah, that looked pretty normal from Cthulhu. I think Bunny's has just misjudged that. I think Bunny's might have just hurt himself quite badly there in terms of his race, because now he has front wing damage, and you can see the difference already. Look how far ahead Cthulhu has gotten already. Slenderfella is going to be way too far back to take advantage of Bunny's damage, but Bunny's is still going to be losing to Cthulhu nonetheless. And let's see, where are the others? We've got certainly a much larger spread than we did at the start of the race now. None of these sort of top 7 drivers super close to each other, although Jam and Bailey not far away from each other, as well as Daz there, and I could have sworn I saw Rain there for a second. That can't be right though, but I tell you what, I believe there is Rain on the radar, just missing the track at the moment, and it looks like it isn't going to hit if I remember correctly. Let's see Aloe driving along in 8th, apologies. Rob in 9th. They'll be looking to take 8th from him at some point if he can. That means Aloe has gotten back ahead of Rob since his incident, and Gasman in 10th, running along nicely here on those hards. The Ferrari driver in the Ferrari again. He is the one true Ferrari driver in this league. He has always been in a Ferrari, effectively. I'm not sure if it's literally always, but it is extremely common that Gasman ends up in a Ferrari. Pat, now going through the last couple of corners, it's a stab of overs here. He touches the grass. Good car control there from Pat to keep it going, though. Poolshark in 12th, 13th is Punisher, 14th is Specmares, 15th is Wolfbane, and 16th is Jim Joker. Let's take a run through the top 10. I believe I was already just sort of looking at it, but Gasman 10th, 9th, Rob on drums, 8th is Aloe, 7th is Bailey, 6th is Daz, 5th is Jam. Running quite well at the moment, actually, is the Williams driver, and I believe he's just recently made that overtake on Daz. He has. What has happened to Daz? Let's take a look at it. On board with Jam. Oh, as Daz just half spinning out of the way. The Tyrrell driver making a bit of a mistake there and letting Jam through completely unintentionally. The number 51, just not what he will have wanted there. But number 51, Daz, is in 6th. 5th is Jam. 4th is Matt Psycho. 3rd is Slenderfella, running an excellent race here in the Red Bull. We saw him with some good pace last season, but he has improved even more. Slenderfella was not quite this quick last season. He is really nailing it at the moment. Bunny's in 2nd, and 1st, of course, is Cthulhu. Bunny's on that lap where he got damage, a 16 flat, so not what he will have wanted on that lap. And you can see his softs are very worn now. Look at that sliver that he has left on the front right. A little bit too much realistically to call it a sliver, but certainly not much more than that. So Cthulhu looking rather safe at the moment here on lap 15. And 23 or 24 laps to go from here. Bunnies will still be trying to hunt Cthulhu down, but it's hard to say what he'll be able to do with these worn tires. The number 1 car has never won a race before in Formula X. We'll see if Bunnies can change that today, but Cthulhu will do his best to make sure that doesn't happen in that number 81. Let's see, how many of these drivers can you see the number on the car on the onboard? I'm curious. So I've just noticed you can for those. Ooh, Bullshark, big snap of oversteer. Good save from him. As I've just noticed, there's only a couple of teams where you can see the number on the front of the car, so their number's a bit higher up than everyone else. Just a sort of useless detail that I've noticed, but interesting to see nonetheless. As, yeah, let's take a look around what's going on in the race right now. Jim Joker, is he close to Wolfbane? He's not too far off the back of Wolfbane. These two battling for 15th, so not exactly what they'll want, but on the bright side, 15 laps in, and neither of these drivers have given up, and that is excellent commitment to the league from both of these drivers, the Williams and the Ferrari, Jim Joker and Wolfbane. Let's see where this goes from the... Ooh, actually, Jim Joker going a bit wide there. That's not what he'll want. And I was just talking about how Bunnies was killing his soft, but Jim Joker, seemingly the only one works on his front right. And that's Gasman through on the inside of Speckmere. Gasman seems to have pitted for softs, because Gasman was on the hards at the start of the race. He's on the softs now, and it looks like he's flying. As Pool Shark also into the pits. Let's see, what is he going to pit onto? He seems to be going onto the softs. I could be mistaken. We'll take a look at that again in a moment, as that sometimes does glitch. As Bunny's also into the pits on this lap. Bunny's into the pits. That is our second place driver. He is struggling at the moment then. Past couple laps have been 16s and 15s. Not what that driver, not what the Canadian will have wanted there. Matt Psycho is on the mediums, still going. Actually a personal best in his previous lap. A 15.1. That's quite good from him, as he comes out just ahead of Bunnies. Bunnies in fourth now. So second to fourth was the pit stop time for Bunnies. That's a solid time, but actually he's not dropped as far back as I might have expected. Jam in fifth, not ahead of him. Bunnies puts on the mediums. So we'll see what he can do from here on those mediums. Let's see what Pool Shark has put on. As Wolfbane is the 3-second time penalty. I'm not sure what that's from. Let's see how he picks it up. What has happened here, actually? I'm not entirely sure. As Punisher's spun round. Oh, so I wonder if he's... Ooh, just about manages to avoid the McLaren. But I wonder if he's gotten a penalty for overtaking under yellow flags. So that could be what's happened to Wolfbane here. We'll see if he has to serve the penalty on this lap. No, because he's gotten it so late on, he'll be serving it next lap at that pit stop line, as Punisher letting Cthulhu through there. So Cthulhu overtaking, or apologies, lapping his current rival's teammate. Cthulhu fighting Bunnies for the win so far, and lapping his teammate. So that will be a minor piece of satisfaction there for Cthulhu, seeing a McLaren fly past him, or apologies, fly behind him in a sense. So Bunnies now on the back of Matt Psycho will be looking for an opportunity to overtake Matt in the next few laps, if he can warm up his tires well enough. Matt Psycho, his mediums are pretty worn out, whereas Bunnies is on completely fresh softs. Jam in fifth. Let's see how Jam is doing on those soft compound tires, taking them a solid distance. Daz here in 6th, 7th is Aloe at the moment, 8th is Rob on drums, 9th is Pat on those softs. Those are looking pretty worn. I do wonder if we'll be seeing him pitting soon in the Red Bull. Let's see, even on this lap, maybe no, he chooses to go a further lap. Gasman flying along on the soft, a new personal best of 15.7 on the previous lap. Let's see what it is this lap. It's another personal best. It's a 15.508 for Gasman on this past lap. Let's see Bailey on the softs, on fresh softs. So Bailey will now be starting to fly. He qualified third on the grid today. We'll see where he can finish. We're not even halfway through the race quite yet though, so no real way to tell at the moment. Speckmere in 12th. I seem to recall last season at Brazil, our season opener then, he was stuck around with Bunnies at the back of the grid on hards in the first part of the race then as well, but both of them making solid comebacks on that day to get into the proper midfield battle. We'll see if that's going to be the case again for Speckmere, towards the back of the grid at the moment in his opening stint, but we'll see if in the latter part of the race he can make up some ground, as there's two people quite close together there. It's Gasman on the back of Pat. What can the Ferrari driver do to overtake the Red Bull? Let's see, it's the number 89 on the inside of the number 4. He's going to use overtake. Can Gasman make the move? Another personal best of 15.2 on this lap. Gasman has to tuck behind for the moment. Speckmere into the pits off of his hards. Where is Gasman going to go? He's going to go down the inside. No, sorry, apologies. I got a little bit confused there. I thought he had gone past Pat for a moment. No, he's going to pull up an amazing switchback. That's a great move for Gasman. Let's go back and watch that again on board with the Ferrari driver, because that was beautiful. Let's see what he does here. Gasman in 10th, going for 9th. He takes the inside line. He takes the switchback. He gets on the throttle and he nails it past Pat. Pat's tires really giving out on him there. And, I just bit the inside of my cheek, sorry. As that's Cthulhu in the pits, so this is important to watch. Where is he going to come out in comparison to Bunnies? He comes out on a set of mediums. Bunnies is here. Bunnies is too far back. That's Wolfbane, I believe, that Bunnies is going past now. Bunnies is a solid distance behind Cthulhu. This is not what I expected at all. I thought Bunnies would be much closer, having that undercut there. But apparently the overcut has really paid off for Cthulhu, and Bunnies will be just desperately trying to push while Cthulhu tries to warm up his tires. It's Jam in 3rd for the time being, but he will need to pit, of course. And, apologies, just for a second, I will let you guys listen to the engine sounds as Bunnies tries to catch Cthulhu. As Cthulhu in lead now, getting some feedback that there was too much on boards there. Apologies for that. Cthulhu, you can see him warming up his tires so much there. And let's take a look at further back in the grid. I saw Matt, Psycho, and Rob on drums, the teammates, 6th and 7th at the moment, not superbly close together, but looks like Matt has just pitted 4 new tires as Jam into the pits there. Jam refueling. Matt's going to go past him. Is Rob going to go past him? He will, from the looks of things. Gasman might be a bit too far back to overtake Jam while he's in the pits. Gasman there trying to get past Jam, but Jam comes out of the pits well ahead of Gasman, so that is not Gasman's fight for now. Gasman on those softs, though, will be trying to catch up to Jam, but Jam putting on a set of softs now. Jam will be very quick to the end of the race, I would think. 17 laps to go. Gasman pushing through this chicane. Daz in 9th. 10th is Bailey. 11th the Punisher. 12th is Speckmere, not too far off the back of him, on much fresher tires. Let's actually see if the mediums can catch up to the worn softs. That is a new personal best lap for Speckmere on those fresh mediums. So now flying along, a 15.6. Punisher's last lap was a 16.5. So Speckmere catching up to the Punisher quite quickly. We'll see if he can make a move soon. Bull Shark in 13th. Pat there is under pressure from Jim Joker. Jim Joker using the overtake. He's going to go down the inside of Pat. Pat on those fresh softs, but probably still trying to warm them up. The Williams drivers through into 14th. A good move there for the Czech driver. Let's go back up to Speckmere for a moment. We want to see if he can make a move on the Punisher. Let's see here. Can the Brit make a move on the Canadian? We have 2 Canadians in the McLarens this season. But Speckmere is a Brit, and he's looking to get past one of those 2 Canadians at the moment. He's going through the quadruple right-hander on the back of the Punisher as somebody just went into the pits. I want to check who that might have been. I could have sworn I saw someone in the pits. Perhaps I'm going insane. Nonetheless, though, as I was saying, Speckmere on the back of the Punisher. This looks like it's going to be a close battle in the next couple of laps. This time, Speckmere only gaining a couple tenths of a second, though, so the dirty air taking an effect on the Brit already. Rob on drums, Bailey, Daz, Gasman, Jam, Matt, Slenderfella, Aloe, Bunnies, Cthulhu overtaking somebody. That's just lapping Full Shark, and Aloe's just gotten ahead of Slenderfella, has he not? No, perhaps Slenderfella just came out of the pits behind Aloe. But Slenderfella right on the back of Aloe. Yeah, Aloe's got much more worn tires. So I'd imagine Slenderfella just came out of the pits and ended up behind Aloe for a moment. We'll see if Slenderfella on these fresh softs can make a move on the worn mediums of Aloe. The Red Bull driver will be looking to make an overtake. He wants to get back on the podium here. He's come out of the pits recently, I believe. I would guess on lap 19, that was quite a slow lap. I could be mistaken, I'm not sure. I could have sworn I had seen someone in the pits, but couldn't find them. It's going to be towards the inside into the hairpin. He can't make the move quite yet. As let's go off board again. I keep accidentally just sort of naturally gravitating towards the on-board shots there. As Slenderfella, though, chasing down Aloe. He's got a beautiful grid this season. Look at this Lotus being chased down by this Red Bull. And they're from such different eras as well. 1991 versus 2019. These two liveries are from, but it is still, they just go so well together, followed by a 1982 livery here of the Renault, and all these cars just look so brilliant. It is great to see these off-board shots. Let's see. Slenderfella, actually, Aloe's going to go into the pits now. So the Lotus driver going into the pits. Let's see, Matt Psycho, is he, I would imagine Slenderfella might have slightly better pace at the moment on the softs, but I would not count Matt out of anything. Matt is very quick. Let's actually quickly run through the previous champions that are on the grid. Cthulhu was our Season 2 Formula X champion back in those Red Bull X 2014 cars that we used for the first 3 seasons. And of course, that was also back on Grand GT Sport. Bunnies, our reigning champion. We saw him last season taking the championship. Matt Psycho, our Season 3 champion, also in the Red Bull X 2014s, but he's shown fantastic pace since we moved to the Super Formula cars, both the SF19s and the SF23s. Our next champion would be, if I can find him quickly, Wolfbane. Down in 16th at the moment, but Wolfbane back on GT Sport in those SF19s did take our Season 4 championship in Aston Martin. So those are our champions on the grid. We've got 4 of them here today. And let's see, anybody super close to each other here? Daz is not far ahead of Aloe. Aloe not far ahead of Bailey, and Bailey not far ahead of Rob on drums. So we've got a train of about 4 drivers there, and some very close together drivers here. Pat is now ahead of Jim Joker. Jim Joker was damaged. Let's go back and see if we can figure out what that's from. He already has damage here. Let's see what's happened. Oh, he's gone off at turn 1 into the wall. Oh, and he spun it again. So Jim Joker, ooh, just barely avoiding him is Cthulhu. Jim Joker not going, quite the way he wanted through this first sector. All over the place right now, and just unable to keep it on track right now. Struggling quite a bit there. And, yeah, let's see. Back up at the front of the grid, Cthulhu's gap to Bunnies is quite substantial now, but Slenderfella also quite far behind, so Bunnies in something of a no man's land. Matt Psycho on the back of Slenderfella. Let's see what the Renault driver can do right now. He's up by a 10.5 on his personal best. His personal best of 14.404. He's on the back of Slenderfella, and I'd be curious to see if he can make any moves here. He's going slightly faster than Slenderfella in the past few laps. Let's see if he can keep that up. Let's see the Renault driver going quickly behind the Red Bull. The Red Bull, I think he might have been a bit offline there. That'll give Matt Psycho a little bit of an advantage. I'm curious to see if he can make an overtake in the coming laps. He goes off, actually. A little bit of smoke coming up there. Jam, meanwhile, quite comfortable there in the Williams. There are just over 10 laps to go. If we go up to Cthulhu, how long do we have left? We have about 12-13 laps left. So, Jam here through the last couple of corners, doing quite well for himself, it must be said. Gasman in 6th. Gasman running quite well here. The Ferrari driver looking like he's close to another pit stop though, so it's going to be a 2-stop for Gasman, I would think, based on his fuel. There is 0 chance he could stretch that out to the end of the race, even on fuel mode 6. Gasman in 7th. 8th is Bailey. 9th is Aloe. 10th is Rob on drums. Specmir in 11th. 12th is Pat. 13th Jim Joker. 14th Full Shark. 15th Wolfbane. And 16th is the Punisher on his outlap. On to the mediums now. So did he spend 14 laps on, or 24 laps on softs? That is immense. Oh, is the harder tires just not providing the grip he expected? And unfortunately, the McLaren driver is around there, and I believe that was Jam lapping him. Oh, as he spun again. Was there contact there? That was very close with Gasman and the Punisher. Let's see if there was contact there, because for a split second I thought there might have been. I do hope not. There's a yellow flag. That will be the Punisher. Is Gasman alright here? It's a cloud of smoke. He can't see what's going on. Oh, as he just avoids the spinning McLaren. That is excellent awareness there from Gasman. Pat yourself on the back there if you're watching, Gasman. That was incredible to avoid the spinning Punisher there. And Daz now, though, in 7th. 8th is Aloe under pressure from Rob on drums. Let's go off-board into the last couple of corners. Rob very aggressively to the outside as Aloe defends the inside. And Rob is through. Aloe's hards not providing him the same grip Rob on drums softs are. Gasman into the pits from 0% fuel. That was close to running out there for Gasman. Let's go and look to see where he comes out. Gasman is going to come out in 10th. Specmere is in 11th. He's a ways behind. It's just the lapped car of the Punisher behind him now. I wonder if Gasman will be able to keep himself ahead of the Punisher for the time being. Punisher on the mediums will probably have a little bit less grip than Gasman. The softs will warm up very, very quickly, so Gasman should be safe in 10th for the time being. Let's take a look further up the grid. Let's run through the podium positions, see how they're doing compared to each other. This is Cthulhu going down towards the first, or down towards the hairpin at the beginning of the second sector. Bunny's coming out of the chicane, so Bunny's can probably just see Cthulhu off in the distance at times, but not looking super close to him there. Now it's Slenderfella, a similar distance back, coming out of the chicane now, while Bunny's is probably coming out of the hairpin now. He is. Then it's Matt. Matt is the next driver on track behind Slenderfella. Matt can definitely see Slenderfella. There he is, going through the hairpin, and Matt is going to be trying to chase him down. Ooh, that's not the right camera view. As Jam in the background. Ooh, Jam getting a bit of a snap of oversteer there. Let's see how he's doing. And Pat saying, I'm not sure how long ago, as I accidentally closed the stream on my phone by accident a little while ago at some point, though, saying my tires are gone, given he's got the Hamilton helmet. Bono, my tires are gone. And let's take a look at Pat. I believe he's pitted since then. He has indeed. So his tires are no longer gone, luckily for him. He set a 15.2 on the last lap. Somebody's coming up to lap him, though. It looks like that's Bunny's there. Is it Bunny's? It is. So Bunny's trying to lap Pat there. Punisher down in 16th. He's a little ways off of Pool Shark. But, so not looking brilliant for him. Pool Shark, though, little ways off the back of Wolfbane. So certainly this grid is really getting a bit more strung out now. You can see just as the red arrow flips around on the track on the track map as I go to different drivers, actually, as Gasman being overtaken by Bailey. Or probably Gasman trying to overtake Bailey. Gasman is now going to go to the inside of turn 1 on lap 29. He makes the move comfortably through the flat-out left-hander, and he takes 9th position. That's a good overtake for Gasman. Gasman will be flying on these softs. He's gone hard, soft so far in this race. He can't pit again. All the drivers have 3 sets of tires they bring to every race weekend, other than their qualifying tires, of course. And a set allocation at the start of the season. The drivers will pick 3 tires from their allocation for every race. The podium drivers will lose one of their softest tires to one of their harder tires. I believe they'll lose a set of their softest tires to a set of the hards every time somebody gets a podium, and then the top 2 will also be losing qualifying tires as well to their hards, I believe, or possibly just to the mediums. could be mistaken. Nonetheless, Gasman on the back of a Lowy. Gasman using up 2 sets of softs this weekend, and so an aggressive strategy there for him, from him trying to use up some softs right from the get-go. Let's see here, a Lowy flying along ahead of Gasman. A Lowy will be his next target. A Lowy on the hards. I shouldn't be on the onboards again. I don't even notice when I do it, honestly. But Gasman sat behind a Lowy, and let's see what the Ferrari driver can do to overtake the Lotus now. The Lotus with that hot pink helmet trying to defend from Gasman. Gasman's going to go down the inside of the hairpin, number 89 on number 57, and it's number 89 through into 8th. It's Gasman up into 8th. A Lowy in the number 57 Lotus dropping down a position. Bailey might even look at trying to overtake a Lowy himself now that he has the softs. They're much more worn than a Lowy's hards, but the softs yield so much more grips that it's hard to say which of these two will be faster at the moment. It looks like it's going to be Bailey, actually, though. Bailey on the back. Bailey's out of overtake, though, so it's just going to have to be a raw overtaking maneuver. A Lowy, lap 30, defends on the inside of the second last corner. Through the last corner now, those two can basically be taken as one larger hairpin, and it's actually going to be Bailey dipping into the pit lane now. Bailey's fuel is exceptionally low, so Bailey having to pit on lap 30. Let's take a look at Slenderfella. Matt Psycho wasn't too far behind him at a certain point, but he is not quite in striking distance yet. You can see him in the background there, the Red Bull trying to pull away from the Renault. Let's take a look at their overtakes. Slenderfella, just a smidge of overtake left. Matt Psycho just under a quarter. Jam about an 1/8 of his overtake left. So let's see, Daz has over a quarter left, and Daz a little ways back. So these three are all not superbly close together, but not far apart. Jam a little bit further away from Matt than Matt is from Slenderfella. All these drivers running very quick lap times, though. All three of them in the 14s in the past 2 laps. So, let's see. Matt Psycho on the back of Slenderfella. Renault on the back of Red Bull. Matt Psycho a little bit far back. Let's actually just... Ow! I hit my cheek again. Sorry for that sudden exclamation. Let's take a look to see if there's anyone super close together further back. Pat not far off the back of Bailey. Pat still has blue flags. Let's see who that's from. Is it still Bunnies even? It is. So Bunnies still stuck behind Pat for the time being. I don't know how long ago we last looked at them, but it was a couple laps ago at least. So Bunnies struggling to catch up to Pat. Bullshark going through the quadruple right-hander. It looked like he was struggling to keep it on track a little bit through those S's. A very technical section of the track there. Punisher going here, he's a little ways off the back. It is Wolfine and Jim Joker are actually quite close together, the Ferrari and the Williams. And let's see how this goes between the two. We've seen rivalries between these two teams throughout history. Let's see what the rivalry is going to be like this time. It's Wolfine on the back of Jim Joker. And Jim Joker looking pretty comfortable out in front at the moment, but Wolfine has softer tires. He might have an opportunity soon. Let's take a look. Pat trying to find a catch Bailey even. So Bailey up ahead of Pat in that Mercedes. And Specmir getting blue flags as well. Let's take a look back from him. I think that might be Cthulhu even. Let's take a quick look at that, as I think I actually just saw a movement for a moment. Gasman? No, I might not have. That might have been me making a mistake or my eyes playing tricks on me. But yes, let's take a quick look at Cthulhu. Is Cthulhu behind Specmir? Yeah, that does look like that is Specmir up in the distance. So Cthulhu looking very comfortable ahead of Bunnies. Bunnies looking quite comfortable ahead of Matt, though. What's happened to Slenderfella? Slenderfella's had an issue. No, there's been contact even. Let's take a look at this. Matt Psycho on the back of Slenderfella. How far back is he? Slenderfella's had a bit of a spin there, and Matt Psycho is going to try and go down the inside of the quadruple right-hander. Knocks into Slenderfella. Not bad for contact, in fairness. That was not, that was just a little bit of light contact. But that's Matt Psycho up into the podium positions, and Matt running in third now. Let's see, Slenderfella is going to be under pressure from Jam soon, because he's got damage on that front bumper and on the front left tire. So we'll see if Jam can catch Slenderfella. These three quite close together now even. We'll have to wait and see if Jam can make a move. Daz is too far back to be involved in this. Rob here in 7th. 8th is Gasman. Gasman's not super far off of Rob, but Rob seems to have pretty solid pace at the moment, as there's a yellow flag. Who's that? Yellow flag. Yellow flag. Who has had an incident? I can't tell. Let's go a little bit further back, see if there's anybody spinning. There's somebody who spun there at the final corner. It's Pool Shark. Let's go back and see what's happened to Pool Shark. Let's see. Through the penultimate corner. He's going to hit the apex of the final corner. He's just going to run a little bit wide and onto the grass. And these cars are very difficult to control on the grass and as they come back onto the track. And Pool Shark really struggling to keep the car going there, but managing to get it going forwards again quite well. Let's move back further up. We were looking at... Oh, it's actually a Lowy. I could have sworn I saw someone making a move there for a second. I was mistaken, though. Gasman... looking to catch up to the back of Rob on drums, but Gasman actually almost about 7/10 of a second slower than Rob on the last lap, and somebody's had an incident. Is that Pool Shark again, possibly? It is, unfortunately. Pool Shark seeming to have another incident for a moment there. So Pool Shark, the Mercedes, is going to be lapped by Rob on drums in just a moment, I believe. The blue flags are waving here on lap 34, and Cthulhu on lap 35 looking even more comfortable ahead of Bunnies. Bunnies ahead of Pat now, so Bunnies has finally unlapped himself there. Or, sorry, apologies, not unlapped himself. Bunnies has finally lapped Pat there, and so Bunnies will now be chasing down Cthulhu, but I don't think he'll have the pace to do it, because look at the wear difference between those two drivers. So let's go look at Matt. He is pulling away from Slenderfella quite rapidly, but Slenderfella not able to pull away from Jam in the same way. We'll see if Jam can catch up to Slenderfella and make an overtake. So, Jam trying to get away from, or trying to catch up to Slenderfella. Let's take a look backwards from Slenderfella's onboard. You can see there, just trying to catch up is Jam. We'll see just a few laps left if Jam can make a move potentially. Rob on drums looking safe from Gasman. Let's take a look at a Lowy spec mirror in 10th. He's got a blue flag that'll be from Cthulhu. Bailey, Pat, Wolfbane, Jim Joker on the back of Wolfbane then, so they're quite close together, and not too many duos or trios close together at the moment, but Jim Joker not far off the back of Wolfbane, and Jam not too far off the back of Slenderfella. So Jam will be looking to push for 4th right now. We'll see what Jam can do, we'll see what Slenderfella can do. Meanwhile, Jim Joker, let's take a look at his tires compared to Wolfbane's. Wolfbane makes a bit of a mistake there. So Wolfbane has softer tires with barely more wear, so Wolfbane should have the base advantage, but if he keeps making mistakes like that, Jim Joker might have a chance. It's Ferrari and Williams, and I tell you what, 1990s compared to 2021, those two cars may be from extremely different time periods, but they look wonderful near each other. I have to say, I really like those two looks. Moving up to the front of the grid, though, it's Cthulhu, and look at that gap that he has to Bunnies. Bunnies has no chance against him now. Bunnies just dropping so far back, but Matt quite a ways behind Bunnies, so Bunnies in sort of a no man's land now. Matt has to be vigilant, on the other hand, because Slenderfella's not too far behind, And even closer behind Slenderfella is Jam. Jam still pushing to catch up to Slenderfella. So both Williams at the current time involved in a battle. We'll see what Jam can do on the back of Slenderfella. The Red Bull is going to be under pressure from the Williams. And let's see the number 7, that yellow helmet on Jam's car, compared to Slenderfella with that black helmet. Let's take a quick look, actually. Yeah, it looks almost like a default helmet possibly there for Slenderfella. No shame in that, actually. It looks very good in this car, actually. So, let's see. Number 21, number 7. Let's see who can take 4th, because Jam is very, very close to the back of Slenderfella now. And I would have a hard time saying who's going to get that position. As it stands, he's right on the back of him, actually. Let's see if Jam can maybe even make a move into turns 1 and 2 on this lap. Let's just make sure Cthulhu isn't too far ahead. He's not, okay. Cthulhu's not going to, like, cross the line as these two are. Ooh, that's a sap of oversteer for Jam. Let's see. Jam, is he going to use any overtake to try and get up to the back of Slenderfella? He's getting so close there. Jam is on the back of Slenderfella. Can he make a move? He's going to be too far back into the chicane on this occasion, but he's going to sit right behind him, the Williams, pushing to catch the Red Bull. We've seen Jam making last lap overtakes before, though. Think back to Daytona last season, when he made a move into the last chicane on the last lap, trying to overtake Cthulhu, and it worked. Then he's going to go round the outside of the hairpin. Jam's going to make it. Is he going to? Oh, he's got a snap of oversteer as Slenderfella's there. We got to keep an eye on Cthulhu, though. Cthulhu going through the final corner. Let's go back to Jam and Slenderfella for a second. Let's go up to Cthulhu again. It's going to be the Spaniard who wins the first round of Season 7 of Formula X. He wins at Dragon Trail. It's the Spaniard who comes out on top. We'll go back to Jam and Slenderfella in a minute or two. It's going to be Bunnies who comes across the line in second. The reigning champion takes a podium, and it's going to be a podium of champions. Cthulhu Season 2, Bunnies Season 6, and our Season 3 champion is going to finish in third. It's Matt Psycho who comes home in third for Renault. And let's go back. Let's see what's going on here as we have Jam ahead of Slenderfella. There's smoke there. What's going on? Who is that? There's Pat, who's made a mistake. Slenderfella on the inside. Jam goes through. That was Pat on the inside. Apologies. And Slenderfella, though, is going to go for the outside into the penultimate corner. Can Slenderfella make the move? It's going to be Jam on the inside. He's going to hold the position. Is he going to keep it, though? Traction down to the line will be vital. It's a long run down to the line. Can Slenderfella make a move? Is it going to be Jam? Is it going to be Slenderfella? It's Jam in 4th. Slenderfella in 5th. 6th will be Daz, surely. Let's go back down to Pat. Speckmere in 10th. 11th is Bailey. 12th is Pat. 16th is the Punisher. Let's go back up to Daz, see how he's going to do. Is there anybody else super close together? Not at the moment, as Wolfbane's going to be 14th. Jim Joker took 13th in the end. Let's go back up to Daz. Daz is 6th for Tyrrell. 7th is going to be Rob on drums, a good result for the American. 8th is going to be Gazman. 9th will be Aloe, though. And that will be the last of our finishers, so I'll pause it just as he goes over the line. It's 9th for Aloe, and that is our race for today. The race is over, and I'll try to keep this outro short because I do have somewhere to be. But it is Cthulhu who is your first race winner. And I tell you what, that's perfect timing to see the drivers where they are, because we have first and second sat right there. It's Cthulhu in first, Bunny second, third is Matt Psycho, 4th is Jam, 5th Slenderfella, 6th Daz, 7th Rob, 8th Gazman, 9th Aloe, 10th Speckmere, 9th Aloe, 10th Speckmere, 11th Bailey, 12th Pat, 13th Jim Joker, 14th Wolfbane, Pool Shark 15th, and the Punisher is 16th. That is round 1 of Season 7 of Formula X. We'll see you next week around this time, possibly about an hour later, 2 hours later. We'll see exactly. But thank you to everyone who watched the first round here at Dragon Trail. Next week, we go to St. Croix B, we'll see how that goes. The French circuit should bring out lots of great racing. If you want to see a race that we've done there before, go take a look at the most recent season of Porsche Cup. We did an endurance race there, hour-long endurance race. You can go watch that, or you can just wait for next season. But I would suggest watching, or next season, apologies, next race. But I would suggest just going and watching what we have. He's had some brilliant races recently. Let's see where we go next week. Cthulhu is going to be your championship leader. Bunnies, of course, took fastest lap, though, so that will help him. And that is the race for today. Thank you to everybody who watched. Really appreciate it. And I will see you all next week. This has been myself on commentary. See you all later.